Finally, we are less than 5 days away from the opening round clash against GWS. No more talking. I haven't posted a video in nearly a week because I'm starting to sound like a parrot with just one phrase. How many times can you say the same thing over and over again? I don't want to bore you guys with that. So while I would love to pump out content and give you different perspectives and looks, it's all going to be the same at this point. We're in March. We've done 5 months of the off-season / pre-season talk, longer than that. So a little bit of a respite, and where we are right now, it's that moment between the first siren and that bounce in the center. Just that silence, that anticipation, that giddiness. That's where we are right now. And let's get into the preview, right? Firstly, more than anything, what do I want as a fan leaving this game in Sydney? I want to see headlines in Melbourne, in the Herald Sun the next day. A professional Collingwood. What does that mean? I want to hear an undermanned GWS side wasn't up to it with the powerful Pies. I mean, no Jesse Hogan, no Tom Green, no Jake Stringer. Sure, if we lose, there will be that narrative, right? For most of the games in the first 6 weeks where the teams that we are coming up against have their best players out. This is not basketball. It's not where if you're missing a LeBron James or a Steph Curry, it significantly decreases your chances or your likelihood of winning that game. This is the AFL where there's 22 other players who will have input in that game. It's not as bad as it's made out to be. That's why we're probably not stressing so much with like a Jordan De Goey being out at the moment. Heck, we missed Nick Dacos in that qualifying final against Melbourne, didn't we? So you've got to be able to do it without your best players at times, right? So a professional Collingwood needs to come out of this game and just give us a convincing win against a side who, well, they're a great side. They are undermanned, and we need to take advantage of that and not let it work against us with the aftermath of the media and whatnot. Not that the Collingwood players care or the inner sanctum, but it's just something we don't want to get our wheels rolling in 2025. It's gonna be a Collingwood that will continue to attack as well. We know that with our ball movement off the half back from defensive half. You've heard it time and time again. But in the preseason, we have seen Collingwood are much more willing to go long down the line. So more paths to victory this year. And given the treacherous conditions we're going to be playing in, most likely this weekend in Sydney, it's going to be needed to be able to go long down the line, to go through the corridor sometimes, to play it slow, to play it fast, to be more versatile, to be less predictable against these sides who did their research on Collingwood from 2023 and onwards, right? You got to have strings to the bow, right? So that's what I want to see. And we saw it in bits and pieces against Richmond, long down the line. Membry, McStay, Myercheck. We're going to need them. It's going to be quite a wet game, as I mentioned, so we'll talk about some stats that I've just highlighted that have me a little bit concerned going into it, right? But we also need to make amends for that opening round game last year. It was a game where we had a bunch of opportunities. We probably weren't clinical enough, whereas GWS, they went in to their forward 50 less than us, but they were just more accurate, more precise. They converted their chances more than we did on that night, and then we know the narrative for the rest of the year. Okay, so wet weather footy. It's going to be high pressure, high octane. Guess what? Collingwood and GWS in 2024, top 4 for tackles. Basically, 1 and 3, I believe. I think GWS were the number 1 side, Collingwood number 3 side. Our forward 50 pressure is elite with Shooter, Bo, Bobby, Jamie. So that's not going to be a question, right? Where I am concerned is our ground ball gets from last year going into this year. Is Houston and Perryman going to help that? 100%. So it might be a different look, right? But we are looking at the number one side in hardball gets, GWS last year, versus the worst side when it comes to hardball gets last year, Collingwood. That is a concerning stat to walk into in a wet weather game against a great side like GWS. You know, you look at Harvey Thomas, Brent Daniels, Toby Bedford, all these smaller players, Darcy Jones, all these smaller players who are going to have impact on the wing, in the middle at times, forward of centre. That's going to be a stat that I'm going to keep a close eye on because I think that's something that can definitely dictate where this game goes. Collingwood as a side, like last year, just weren't really a great ground ball get side, and that's an important subcategory in the contested possession realm. Loose ball gets will great because we had Nick Dacos. He's the king of loose ball gets when the ball is in dispute at ground level. Forward 50, we were a top 5, top 6 side. But defensively and in the midfield, hard ball gets were hard to come by. And you just thinking about that Hawthorn game where it was pissing down, and Hawthorn were by far and away one of the best ground ball get sides last year, and we got absolutely shown up against them. So keep an eye on that one, guys. Some matchups, the one that always intrigues me, is it going to be Bruz or Quaynor against Toby Green? Or do we get a combination? I think we get Bruzzy Maynard to start off with against a Toby Green. But I want to see Isaac Quaynor with the leadership, with his intention this year to become the player he was in 2023 and better, right? He played on Jeremy Cameron against Geelong last year. So why can't he be that guy to walk up to Bruz before the game and say, mate, I've got Toby for this entire game. I want him. That's what I want to see from Quaynor. And then Bruz can play on like a Cadman, Riccardi. There's no Hogan, so that would be interesting. Jake Stringer's not there, so these are players Bruz would typically play on. Toby Bedford, will he be tagging Nick Dacos in this game? Toby Bedford did an incredible job late last year tagging some great players or the best midfielders in the league. I think with Bedford, who was he playing on? GWS played against Carlton in the practice match, and Toby Bedford was doing a run with role on Patrick Cripps and did quite well, to be honest, despite the result of the actual game. So let's just keep a close tab on whether we see Nick Dacos with a running partner for the duration of this game. Next matchup I want to see, or I'm thinking we might see, is a Harry Perryman and a Finn Callaghan. Callaghan is someone who's dubbed to break out this year in AFL. He's Rolls-Royce type of player. Great running capacity and really good by foot. That trusted left foot of his kind of reminds me of a Bont to a certain extent. So I want to give Perryman this assignment. Hey, mate, make sure this guy doesn't do damage forward of centre, and then go get your own footy going back the other way. And that's what Perryman does best. And against GWS, this is his game. So this is the return game for Harry Perryman already. The final matchup that I want to see, I want to get this right. So Mychek, the disruptor is what we're going to call him. He has the luxury of not having to worry about kicking 2-3 goals every game anymore, right? He's got McStay, he's got Membry there. Yeah, he kicked 4 against Richmond, great, okay? But what I want to see in this game is I want to see Mychek ensure that Sam Taylor is not taking intercept marks for free in their defensive half. We know Mychek is a prick of a player to play on when playing forward. Can we give him this defensive assignment as a disruptor to ensure that Sam Taylor, an all-Australian caliber player, has been probably the best defender over the last 2 years? Let's see Mychek really get in the way of Sam Taylor's jumping space and bring the ball to deck and trust that our small, medium forwards can win the ground ball. Like I said earlier in this video, one of the best forward 50 sides when it comes to the ball hitting the deck and applying pressure as well. So play to our strengths and take away GWS's strengths. That's the preview, the first preview of the season. Just dusting off the cobwebs a little bit. But also, I am doing a tipping competition. Main prize, or the only prize, is $300. There's no entry fee. Link will be in the description. And yeah, a bunch of content towards the back end of this week. Like I said, we took nearly a week off. But it's sort of the calm before the storm, because there's going to be a bunch of content, pre-game show, post-game show, moving the magnets tomorrow, potentially Friday as well, Pies Footy show tonight. Can't wait. Go Pies.